IMF warns sanctions will backfire on US dollar. And coming in from Zero Hedge, IMF warns countries may cut dollar reserves in response to US sanctions against Russia. Well, haven't I been warning about this in the last month or so? Did the IMF just parrot one of Russian President Vladimir Putin's favorite criticisms of Western sanctions? During an interview with Foreign Policy, the IMF's first deputy managing director warned that Western sanctions on Russia, more specifically the confiscation of dollar and euro denominated reserves held by the Russian central bank, could backfire by making other foreign central banks more reluctant to hold such a large amount of their own foreign reserves in dollars and euros. For decades now, the international dollar-based financial system has been underpinned by free market principles. Unfortunately, when Western institutions effectively confiscate reserves belonging to an independent central bank, they cut against this notion and prompt other nations to ponder the possibility, however remote, that they could be next. Ultimately, it's likely that some countries will reconsider the wisdom of so heavily relying on Washington. We are likely to see some countries reconsidering how much they hold of certain currencies in their reserves, she told Foreign Policy. While Russia accuses the West of trying to engineer a default on Russia's foreign currency bonds by restricting its access to euros and dollars, Gopinath pointed out that the sanctions imposed over the past month have effectively cut Russia's ties to the global financial system, and a default, however technical in nature, would likely lock Russia out of said systems for years, or lock Russia out. When you've defaulted, re-entry into the market is not easy, and that can take a long time. The IMF is already seeing an increasing fragmentation in global payment systems. On Thursday morning, it was reported that Russia and Iran are working on a global financial messaging system that could act as an alternative to SWIFT. Of course, the IMF isn't the only institution to highlight this trend. Just the other day, Goldman Sachs released a note warning that the twilight of the US dollar's global hegemony could be at hand, citing the possibility of Saudi Arabia accepting yuan for oil instead of dollars. Since the annexation of Crimea in 2014, Russia's central bank has steadily divested its reserves of most US dollar assets, but the dollar, euro, and sterling still account for more than 50% of its holdings, located in France, Germany, Japan, Britain, the United States, Canada, and Australia. Now, Russia isn't alone in this. Increasingly, Latin American nations are diversifying their reserves away from the dollar, including larger percentages of alternatives like the Chinese yuan. And Russia isn't alone in this. As Credit Suisse Zoltan Pozsar recently pointed out, Western sanctions could help spark a larger move away from holding reserves in the form of inside, aka fiat money, currency, and instead see a movement toward a new system where crypto, or perhaps a hybrid of gold and other commodities like oil, serve as a new reserve asset of choice. Of course, the Fed, which is pushing the adoption of a CBDC to seize the last bit of financial autonomy Americans have left, will likely push back with force. We're already seeing it today as the US and its G7 allies seek to halt purchases of gold by the Russian central bank. So in recent weeks, we've done a whole heap of videos about this. So we did the video about Zoltan, where, once again, warning these sanctions could backfire. And even Jerome Powell admitted that the US dollar is doomed, as in, it won't always be the global reserve currency. In fact, it might share the global reserve currency. So really downplaying the US dollar remaining that global reserve currency. And I guess you could say it all kicked off with this video that I did, Russian Crisis to Push Gold to 100k, and this was based from a thread that Luke Groman did. This was more than a month ago now, and way before the Russia invasion in Ukraine even happened. Russia were talking about creating a gold-backed cryptocurrency, and we did that video. We did this video, gold-backed cryptocurrency, where the Russian authorities have been looking at that. Obviously, since Crimea, they've been de-dollarizing, removing US Treasuries as reserves and increasing their gold reserves. And it's very interesting how everything is playing out right now. And I did this video, gold will replace US dollar as reserve currency. So we've been talking about this for a little while lately. And we even did this video, breaking gold and silver news, where about India, their stock exchange, setting up a new gold exchange. So the world is moving. It is clear that we have crossed the Rubicon and things are changing. It's just those that see where the end game is, what the end game is, and those that can prepare now, see what's coming and prepare now, are the ones who are going to be the winners. And it takes a lot of courage, because in the short term you could look like you're wrong. I think the US dollar as a global reserve currency is coming to the end. And it's not just me. I've done videos previously where Felix Zulauf, he thinks it's going to end by the end of this decade. He doesn't see the US dollar being the global reserve currency by the end of this decade. You've got Stan Druckenmiller. He thinks 2035. You got the real bond king, Jeff Gunlock. He's with Felix. He thinks, sometime this decade, that the US dollar will no longer be the global reserve currency by the end of this decade. So we're 2022 now. So it's only a matter of years. If you're listening to these guys, it's only a matter of years. So the question is, what do we go to? Well, we know that through this whole great reset, they're wanting central bank digital currencies. They're wanting more control. It's still fiat. It's not backed by anything. Now, there is a big push for a global money, like a one world money. And obviously that's the IMF's SDR, special drawing rights. Now, Jim Rickards has written a lot about the IMF's SDR. And look, even China have previously stated that they don't like the US dollar being the reserve currency, the global reserve currency, and that they would like to see the a neutral, something like the SDR, where their yuan is included in that basket of currencies. It's still fiat. It's still not backed by anything. So being an Austrian economist and a sound money person, well, I'm all for gold and silver, real money, backed by something. So anyway, what do you guys think? Love to see your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Do you think the US dollar as the global reserve currency, its days are numbered? What do you think is going to replace it? Do you think we'll see the yuan or another current fiat currency? I don't see another fiat currency replacing it. I can see them going with the whole great reset, moving to the SDR. And I could see China going along with that. They'd be okay with that, I reckon. And they'll use it as a central bank digital currency to control people. They'll go kicking and screaming to gold. But they may not have any choice. And if Russia are able to back the ruble with gold, and if India do something, if the BRIC nations go, no, you know what, we deal in real commodities, we deal in real money, then the West may have no choice. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Love to see your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. If you like this video, hit that like button. Really do appreciate it. Take care, guys, and I'll see you all again on another episode of Finance Uncut.